can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
Hey, how are we doing out there all across this great land of ours and around the world? It is that time, once again, for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos, and we are here to do what we do best, and that is to educate, inform, and engage you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. And we're glad to have you with us today. If you tuned in to hear us live yesterday, sorry, I was a little bit under the weather, but we are back and strong. A little hoarse. I feel a little hoarse, but back to back. I can't walk away from this too long. Anyway, having said that, let me get Joe on here. How are you doing today, Joe?
I am great, live and in color from the best panhandle in the world, the Florida Panhandle. Suck on that, Texas. Yeah.
Well, I was, just a quick note here. The things that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go through not going to go through the entire list right now. In the interest of time, you'll just have to listen to find out where we're going. We will have Audrey Russo from New Real Talk Radio with us right after our first break here, and then Don Dix from Act for America. And Don's going to, he's going to educate us, inform us, I guess, on the operations or the workings or the actions of Human Atabine, who's making her way into the news today because, or it's resurfacing. I'm not sure exactly how to, whether it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But what's happening is it's coming to light here that she's not quite the feminist that Hillary Clinton claims to be, and her views are much more, I guess, along lines of Muslim, almost Sharia law kind of stuff. So Don Dix is going to come on with us next hour and help us highlight even more hypocrisy out of the Clinton campaign. And boy,
how much more can we have, John?
Yeah, and there's so much of it right now. I just got home. I was really running late today. Got home about half an hour before we were due to go on the air today. Today was movie day in our house. We always go to the movies when I can do it, when I can find a movie worth going to early enough in the morning to get home in time to do the show. And we went and saw War Dogs. It's a film that's based on a true story, which means a lot of it's been exaggerated and a lot of stuff's probably been thrown in. About a couple of 20-something stoners who became government contractors back in the 80s, and made millions of dollars dealing in arms for the U.S. government, and doing it kind of under the table because I guess some of these arms dealers, the government doesn't even really want to know who they are.
Sounds like the State Department to me.
Yeah, could be. Defense Department, State Department, all that. Yeah, and that was that kind of stuff in terms of the processing and how they got around and under and through the system was an interesting and I think probably pretty close to the truth. And when I say the drama, what's the backstory of the people involved and everything. But these guys made millions of dollars, and apparently where they blew it was they ended up not knowingly, but once they found out, what they did was they bought a large number of bullets, ammunition for AK-47s. Now you kind of wonder what would the U.S. need with bullets for AK-47s, but they did. Somebody in the Defense Department wanted it, and they went out and found a bunch of it. And as they were getting ready to ship it out of Albania, they discovered that it was outdated Chinese ammunition.
Oh.
So instead of, canning it and just saying, okay, we're not going to do anything with this, what they did was they pulled everything out of the crates, weighed all the stuff, put it in plastic bags, and recrated it, and then shipped it. And apparently somebody on the U.S. side found out about it. And so these guys got nailed. And it was kind of like one of those stories, you know. So, so anyway, kind of reminded me a lot of the theme of like The Big Short, you know, that movie The Big Short about the subprime housing meltdown. Which, by the way, while I'm thinking about it,
well, John, it reminds me of what happened in Libya. Hey, here I got one, John. I want to engage our listeners right now. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'd like our listeners to write or email their senators and urge them to sign a letter authored by a Senator Ben Sass, a Republican out of Nebraska, requesting that the provision to require females 18 to 26 years old of age register for the Selective Service and have that to be removed from the conference negotiations with the White House, with the House. We have already Senators Hoeven from North Dakota, Hatch from Utah, which is kind of useless, sorry, Wicker from Mississippi, Moran from Kansas, and Daines from Montana. And they've already added their names to this letter saying, hey, keep our women out of the draft.
Yeah.
So I would urge them, as our lovely Congress has been on vacation now for 7 weeks. Now, mind you, I like the fact they're out of Washington, D.C. for 7 weeks because we're saving tons of money. But, you know, I haven't had a 7-week vacation since I left school.
Well, really. I've never had a 7-week vacation. Of course, I've been on vacation for about 3.
Vacation like that since you were in elementary school.
Yeah, but I've been on vacation, if you want to call it that, for about 3 years now, because there's nothing out there to take me off of vacation. So, and
you just work for your wife now.
Yeah. But just this whole idea, I guess one of the, I don't know, I'm bouncing around here in my head trying to think where to go. Where do we start here? We were talking earlier, I think it had to be last week, about the polls. The polls and the things that the polls are doing and not doing.
They're dead accurate. 100% live by the polls, John.
Yeah, well, I found this article here, and we've got a couple minutes here. I just want to make a point about the polls. Washington Post, Kathleen Searles over the Washington Post, along with some other reporters over there, talking about how they went back and did an analysis of the 2008 polls to see what it is how the news actually reported the polls, not what the polls said per se, but how they actually, you know, how they use the polls, how the media used the polls. Yeah. And what they found out was that the media not only kind of skewed their polls in terms of the way they were questioned and stuff, but also wanted to make a point about they would only report the polls that they thought were newsworthy, and newsworthy being defined as polls that showed McCain and Obama really close.
Yeah, the tight race.
Yeah, tight race. And it caught my attention because I'm thinking, that's exactly the opposite of what's happening in this election cycle. See, this whole election cycle is completely ass backwards. It is like nothing is the norm. And the media keeps trying to report everything within the norm. I call it the template. And they keep trying to they keep weighing and measuring everything and reporting everything within this context of how it used to be, how the template, how the elections went, how the process went, everything. In this election, none of that is fitting. None of that is fitting. And so I think what we see now, the most newsworthy polls out there are the ones that show Donald Trump losing in big numbers, you know, double digits or whatever.
Oh, they're trying to tell you right now that the election's over, John. We haven't cast about. I saw this with Brett Baer, said nobody historically has come back from this far back. Meanwhile, back at the ranch in reality land, Ronald Reagan was 9 points down to Jimmy Carter right before the election.
Yeah, and nobody. I think they forgot about 2008. McCain was double digits ahead of Obama before the news of the greatest recession since the Great Depression hit, and all of a sudden he just dropped out of existence. Because why? Because the economy's okay. Remember him saying that? The economy's strong. Don't worry about that.
The economy's good. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And he was, but Obama came out because Obama knew, because this has been orchestrated. This is the whole point. Everything has been orchestrated for a couple decades now. And during the week, course of the week this week, I'm going to share some stuff with you that's really going to reconfirm what we've been saying. Limbaugh finally caught up with us again, and maybe we'll talk about that later. But anyway, we got to go to a quick break right now. Our first break's coming up here, and we have Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio, who will be with us to do her weekly contribution. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
All right. Hey, you're back. We're back. The Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And, boy, I hope you listening to us today just have a little patience with me today. I'm fighting a really terrible cold here, and my head is like an echo chamber right now. I feel like I've got 2 tin cans on each side of my ears here, so if I sound kind of screwy, it's probably because my head's screwed up right now. So,
well, John, that's normally called Skype.
Yeah, I mean, I'm normally screwy and sometimes in how I say things, but if it just sounds a little bit weird, it's because right now I sound a little bit weird. I kind of sound like Hillary Clinton with Botox. I don't know. Anyway, we've got Audrey Russo with us. What's that?
I said for today's diet plan, we'll talk about Hillary. Yes.
Yeah, there's an image in my head. It'll take a little while to get rid of. Just saying.
Bring Audrey on, John. Come on, get with it.
Anyhow, we have with us right now Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio out there in the Bronx. How you doing, Hillary? Hillary, how you doing? I told you anything can happen. Anything can happen here. I had to take some codeine earlier, so who knows where we're going to go today. How are you doing today, Audrey?
Okay. I'm just looking forward to fall. That's all. Better.
I bet you nobody has ever referred to you as Hillary.
Actually, somebody who liked her in an acting class of mine
said
that I look like. Someone said I said. I looked at them, and this is a few years ago, and I looked at them. I said, "What?" Because they had no idea where I stood politically, and I just found that insulting and outrageous and not true. I don't look anything like Hillary.
Well, nobody would refer to you as Hillary and live. It's a good thing I'm
not today.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm 3,000 miles away from you right now. So. Just briefly here, though, before we get into the discussion, a couple of things I wanted to talk with Audrey today. She brought one of them up last week. But we were just talking before the break, Audrey, about the skewing of the polls. And I don't necessarily mean that they're out there doctoring the numbers or anything like that. But we talked last week about the fact that really what we're doing, what's happening with the polls right now, in my opinion, is that the pollsters are using templates from elections past. And they're using databases, and they're using emails and all this other stuff to get their quote-unquote random calls and everything that they claim they do. My suggestion last week was that I don't know how they could come up with the same numbers they're coming up with if they started calling some of the people that have come and registered to vote for the first time, or maybe some of the people that are returning, those who have changed party affiliations and everything, either due to Bernie Sanders or to Donald Trump. I think both these guys have affected the electorate very much. And so I was looking at this article today, the Washington Post, where they say, here's another reason not to trust TV news reports. And what they're saying is basically the media is pulling out, has in days past, elections past, only reported the polls that were, as they said, more newsworthy because it showed numbers closer together. Therefore, there's a real race going on, and that makes it more newsworthy. Whereas it seems in this election, is the opposite is happening. Is that they're trying to get the polls out there that show the biggest gap between Clinton and Trump and say basically the whole election is over.
Yes, well, that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to affect the election by giving the impression that most people are for Hillary and not for Trump. And all the evidence, as you said, and I agree with you with that, I wouldn't say, as you said, I wouldn't say the numbers are skewed. I'd say the questions are skewed, so that therefore the numbers are skewed because the questions are. I think they're ignoring anything that's close, or if Trump is ahead, they're ignoring those. So they're just pulling up the results that they prefer. They've made it very clear, the mainstream media already, that the gloves are off, and they no longer are journalists. They are completely biased, and they are going to report that way.
Yeah, yes, they're advocates for the Democrat Party.
Yeah. And
the party of the KKK.
Just to give you an example here, there's a guy named John Zogby, and I guess he's one of these pollster guys. And he's gone out, and what he's done is he's just targeting people that voted for George W. Bush but then voted for Barack Obama. And he's saying most of the people he's polling now are telling them that they're all going back to Donald Trump. So these kind of things are not being reported in the media en masse. And so I'm saying what I tell everybody. I had people over the weekend, church and everything, ask me about this. The polls show this, and I said, the poll. Don't even worry about the polls. 2 weeks out, come talk to me, and we'll see what's going on. But right now,
this means nothing. Even the news media has to have something to talk about, so they keep coming up. Here's our poll. We just took this, just now. And here, here's what the polls are saying. That's what the polls are saying. Who are those people that, Barney Bookies and Cousin Weenie sitting at home with the only phone line they have, and they, and this is what's going on. So they report that as some kind of legit. We don't know. People will say anything. They might be even screwing with them on the phone. Well, it's true. And then when they go into the booth, they're going to vote for Trump because you think they want more of what they have.
Yeah,
you're going to get with Hillary.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like I said, I must have had 6 people approach me on Sunday at church. Well, what about, geez, it looks like Trump's losing. No, nothing. You guys, I can't tell you who's winning, but I can tell you that nobody's losing. Okay. Yeah. Right now, it's like it's this and that and the other. It's going to be who can turn out the most voters towards the end of this thing. And that's really what it's going to come down to.
And it's not going to be Hillary because there's nothing to turn out for.
No.
She's going to get the inner city because, remember, she's going to feed them. Okay, she's going to take care of them.
Yeah.
She's the nanny, and a bad one. And that's going to turn out for her only because they're going to bus them to the polls. Okay, they bus them everywhere else, don't they? I mean, this is that's their plantation that they have. I'm gonna when it comes to you mentioned something off air about the black vote. Okay, I always say this up front. I don't like talking black and white because we're all Americans. But since that's a vernacular, I'm going to use it. The majority of those in the black community have Judeo-Christian values, but those values are not reflected in the Democrat Party platform. They are reflected in the Republican platform. We are the party of abolition. We are the party of freedom. The Democrats are the party of the KKK.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, let me tell you something.
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
Well, see, I look at
Freddy Krueger.
I kind of look at the black vote this way. And, I get what you're saying here, but we have to talk about this because it's being broken down that way, and the game's being played that way. Okay, so let's address it, on the same level that everybody else is out there trying to push it. I kind of look at the vote in the black community kind of like I look at school board elections in local communities. And when you break these things down, I was just down at a school board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and this is how it works out. And I get this confirmed every time I talk to somebody. You go into a city like Garden Grove, which has about 550,000 residents in Garden Grove, and a school board election comes up, and you get maybe 2,500, 3,000 people actually show up at the polls to vote in a population of about 550,000. And what happens is 2,000 of those people are union people. Okay, they're teacher union people. These are teachers in the union that have been told to go vote. Okay, so they go vote. And I think it's the same thing with the black community. The Judeo-Christian blacks that you mentioned, Audrey, I think for the most part, at this point in time, probably just kind of throw their hands up and go, doesn't make any difference one way or the other. Much like the voters that stayed away from the polls in 2012 because Mitt Romney was a Mormon. They have some little thing that just hits that little button in their mind and goes, it doesn't matter if I vote or not. And
the black community, and again, we're talking because that's a vernacular. In the black community, I don't know if I agree with that because they have been sold lies by the Democrat Party that they were the party of Lincoln. They don't believe that Lincoln was a Republican. They've been lied to. They don't believe that. They don't understand that the Whigs failed because they didn't care about abolishing slavery. So hence came about the GOP. The Republican Party came about for what? Abolition. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And Lincoln was a Republican because, let me see, he wanted to do away with slavery. That they don't understand that. The Democrats in school this is what they have educated them on. Lies about the Democrat Party, lies about the Republican Party, and now they believe that.
Well, yeah, and see, you really made my point for me, because the thing that I'm looking at here, the way I'm seeing this, and I keep referring back to, I think the guy that said it the best was Bob Costas a few weeks ago, where he said, nobody's really looking at what's going on as far as the people the Trump movement per se, meaning those people that are coming to the polls for the first time, or have decided to get up off the couch this time and go out and vote and that kind of stuff. And I think that may be what's happening in the black community. I think Donald Trump the other day coming out and saying, what the hell do you have to lose? I thought, that would be my mantra. If I was him walking around. Of course, I think he needs to start showing up at some of their events. I think that's a mistake, not participating with these people. But Ben Carson said, that's going to.
I have a different take on that, John.
Huh?
I have a different take on that. I look at it like this. Hey, the food's over there. You hungry?
Yeah.
Here you go. Let's come and eat. Everybody's treated equally over here.
Yeah.
Come and eat. I look at it more like Frederick Douglass would say.
Oh yeah, I'm not really.
Black man. Leave him alone. Let him live and die on his own. If he's worthwhile, he will live on his own and on his own accord. Leave him alone.
Well, yeah, I'm not really trying to
forget about him. I mean, let him make up his own mind. Quit this pandering that what the Democrat Party does is pander to him. We're going to give you a bone, please. Because you're just too darn stupid to figure it out by your own.
Yeah, I get that.
No ways tired.
I get that. You were going to say something, Audrey?
No. I was just agreeing.
Okay. Well, I'm not really trying to point to a certain position or anything. What I'm getting at is, what I'm seeing, this election cycle is like none we've ever had in my lifetime that I can think of, and probably nothing like this in history. And I'm just thinking that all the norms, everything that everybody kind of looks at and says, okay, well, let's try to fit it within this paradigm, or within this number, or this attitude, or this template, or whatever. I like to refer to them as templates. And none of that stuff really matters this time. It's going to be a matter of, is the anger that's out there, is that going to drive people to the polls? Because the left doesn't have the anger. The left has, they have the carrot. It's being dangled out there. Come vote for us. They're doing what the Republicans are trying to do to their base. They're just out there. Let's dupe our base one more time. Vote for us, and we'll give you everything.
In some reason, and I still to this day do not understand why the Republican Party continues to chase after the opposition to follow their lead. It's incredible. Their lead is socialism. Socialism leads to communism. That's not what we're about, and I wish they'd knock it off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Preach it, Audrey. Preach it.
Well, I'm just saying, I think a lot of people, if I learned anything in 2012, is I don't listen to anybody anymore tell me how it's going to turn out. It's like I've got people. I got a friend who attacked me because I told him what's his name, Jim Morrison, Dick Morrison, whatever his name is.
Dick Morrison.
Yeah. Okay. And he's out there, buy my book. And I'm going to tell you all these things are going to happen. I'm like, dude, you blew it in 2012 with me. And I mentioned that to one of my friends. He's all like, hey man, you just don't understand how these guys do things and how smart they are. And I go, no, nobody got 2012 right. I mean, even the winners didn't get it right. So you can't tell me that this election cycle, everything has been out of whack the entire time. We don't know from one day to the next, who's going to say something stupid. Here's the big point, though. I'm going to make this point before we go to the break here. With all the garbage that's out there, with all the numbers that the press is trying to push and everything, the lead one way or the other is so minuscule that it doesn't really make any difference. How is it that Donald Trump is as close as he is if he's such a bad guy? And that's because Hillary is a worse person. Okay, That's really what it comes down to. Okay, so it's kind of like, okay, are we just trying to sell ourselves a bill of goods? Okay, Trump may be the lunatic, but she's the psychopath, and maybe it's just better to have a psychopath than a lunatic. I don't know. Anyway, we got to go to break. Yeah, we got to go to break. When we come back, we'll continue here. I want to get some more out of Audrey here with her time with us today from Real Talk Radio. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
City Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too.
So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
Hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm sorry, I was just practicing my English accent there for some reason, and it just did not come out right. I guess because I've been watching all these movies lately that have English people in them. You know, I'm just kind of. I wonder if I can sound like those. I don't know. Anyway, back to America though, and Jimmy Kimmel. You know, I'm amazed, you know, how some people, you know, get into show business and they team up with somebody, and then you find out later that even though they were kind of a good team, they were diametrically opposed in the political spectrum. Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla are two of these people. The Man Show. Remember The Man Show? And
I heard of it, but no, I don't know.
Okay, well, you didn't believe me. You didn't miss anything.
Well, the best thing about it, John, was the girls on trampolines.
Yeah, the girls on trampolines. That was about the only thing that was worth watching the show for. But
Audrey doesn't get that, but
no, but I'll pass. Go ahead.
It was fun to watch girls jump up and down on trampolines for some reason.
Yeah, it was a dumb show. It really was. It was kind of like it was actually making fun of manhood, but the way they did it, you know, like their hero, the hero in the back was in the back of the big picture was Scott Baio. And the reason Scott Baio was a hero because he dated both Heather Locklear and Pam Anderson. So he was like the idol of these guys, you know, that kind of stuff. And it was just a show kind of making fun of manhood and you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's where Jimmy Kimmel got his start, doing this show called The Man Show. Adam Carolla is out here in L.A. right now. He has his own conservative talk show. He's a very conservative pundit out here in California. Anyway, Jimmy Kimmel, as most people know now, has taken over the late night show, one of the late night shows. I don't know which one because I don't watch any of them. I think he's the one that took over for Leno, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he had Hillary Clinton.
Those numbers are low.
I'm sorry?
Bet you those numbers are low.
Yeah. I haven't watched Tonight Show since Johnny Carson, so it doesn't matter. But he had Hillary Clinton on the other night because that's how Hillary campaigns now. She's not out campaigning.
Do that at a press conference? Is that what you're telling me, John? She'd rather go on that show than do a press conference.
Well, she doesn't. She's not doing press conferences, and when she is out on the campaign trail, she has somebody running the show for her. They have Joe Biden out there, or Timmy Kaine, and somebody like that, you know. And she just sits off in the back and smiles. And which, by the way, I'm just going to say this. I happen to think the woman has false teeth now. There's something about her smile. It just doesn't look like she's on one of those. What are those kind of, the adhesives they use for false teeth?
Fixodent, yes.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, if you open that mouth any wider, those things
I still think it's Weekend at Bernie's. So.
So anyway, she was on Jimmy Kimmel last night, and she laughed off any questions about her health, of course. When Hillary Clinton laughs something off, you know that they're probably pretty close to the truth. They just don't want anybody to know. And it was about her health and stamina during an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel on Monday night, and arguing that the current speculation about her health makes no sense. This is a common word used by leftists these days. It makes no sense. And she's also coined a new phrase for vast right-wing conspiracy. It's called wacky strategy. Okay, she doesn't. I guess somebody.
Stupid. That's even stupid.
I guess somebody told her don't talk about vast right-wing conspiracies. So now it's wacky strategy. She said, I think it's part of a wacky strategy. Anyway, she asked Jimmy Kimmel to take her pulse to make sure that everybody knew she was alive.
So did he have a mirror too? Did he have her breathe on a mirror?
I was thinking, you lie about everything else, you could be lying about this too. Who knows?
Well, and then the media's in their back pocket. So, come on.
Anyway, he gave her a jar of pickles and asked her to. We need to know that you're you're fit for the office of the president. Here's a jar of pickles. Open it up, right? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, in this day and age, that's the only qualification one should have to be president, be able to open a jar of pickles. I'm saying all that to say this. Audrey, you brought up to us last week, because I had not really been paying much attention to this, Hillary's health situation. Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Had kind of floated this out that there's something not up to snuff here. And I'm just, can you update us? What do we know at this point in time?
Well, they're not going to let anything out. It's left up to speculation, but there's a preponderance of visual evidence that this woman is not well.
Yeah.
It's not one incident. It's not two. It's numerous incidents. What is she? I mean, is she 100 years old that she needed to be dragged up a flight of stairs? And it was a short flight of stairs too. But she was held on both sides, being literally dragged up the stairs. Anywhere she is, she usually needs to sit down for a long time. Yeah. And as Kathleen Willey said on the show last week, it's 4 days on, 3 days off. Now it's 3 days on, 4 days off. What is she doing? She's ill. There's something physical. And don't the people have a right to know this? I mean, who does this woman think she is? That she doesn't give a damn about the American people or this country, because if she knew she wasn't up to being president, that she could not physically handle it, then if she cared about the country, she'd say, I'd have to step down because I can't do this. She doesn't give a damn. She really doesn't.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, the way I was looking at her absence from the campaign trail was actually a campaign tactic. The less she talks, the more the media and everybody else is able to cover up for her. And so I think that's the actual strategy. Don't put her out there in the spotlight where she has to answer questions and stuff like that. But then this whole idea about, let's take, for instance, the flooding down in Louisiana. Okay, we know Obama couldn't give up his tea time. Trump went down there, but we've heard absolutely nothing from Clinton on this stuff. And so
she phoned it in.
Yes.
So, because the Queen can't get off her tuchus, she's not going to go down there. Now, why can't she? I mean, she's the same age as Trump, yet Trump is holding rally after rally. He holds at least 2 rallies a day. I mean, what is this woman doing? Why won't she tell us the truth? Because she's a freaking liar, yeah. But why won't she tell us the truth about her health? She's not well. I don't want to know what her personal doctor says. I want both. I have no problem with Trump. I know he's gonna come out with flying colors. I think they should go to Walter Reed, and they should both of them get a physical and should be released to us. We have a right to know. Are you well? Are you ill?
Well, I agree. I figured maybe because Louisiana is so close to Arkansas, and people from Arkansas could drive over to Louisiana and make a big scene over there or something. I don't know. I'm thinking what Donald Trump should do is this. Donald Trump should say, "I'll tell you what, Hillary, I'll show you my tax returns if you show me your health record."
Yeah.
And he should do it while he's opening up a jar of pickles.
But now here's the thing I wanted to ask you here. Let's just surmise here that this whole thing is there's two weird theories in my head right now. One, that something just in the next month or so, maybe month and a half or so, something does surface about her health condition and throws the whole election into disarray on the left, and they try somehow or another to maneuver somehow to suspend elections or something. Now, that's always been a kind of a thought in the back of my head here, that the left will try to suspend elections for some reason and keep Obama there. But let's look at something a little bit more realistic. She gets into the White House, and between her trips for being asked to show up for inquiries and committees for scandals and everything else, something happens to her, and she's incapacitated, or God forbid she dies. I don't wish the women to die. I just wish she'd go away. And so Tim Kaine becomes president.
Right.
So what are we left with there?
Oh, well, there are others there, like there were behind Obama, that would be ruling things. And that if something happened to her, he's not getting out of the White House.
Yeah,
are you kidding?
Do you think it would be a viable strategy that somewhere along the line somebody's thinking somewhere, somehow, that we end up with somebody like Tim Kaine in the White House?
So you tell me, John, that that's the ugliest inflatable doll ever conceived that's running around campaigning for president?
This guy would be so maneuverable. He would be so.
Yeah.
He would be the Manchurian candidate, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, he would be. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he would be perfect for these people to be able to push and pull and just say, hey, go out there today, Timmy, and today, just for kicks, go out and speak in Spanish, okay? And he would be, he's the perfect gullible guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. And that might very well be the reason they chose him, because they know she's going to crap out somewhere along the line. And he would be it. But I still do not believe that she is going to get in there. It's not... you know what? I don't believe. Of course, I never believe the polls.
Yeah,
but it's what we're seeing, and there is not the momentum behind her that there was behind Obama. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I would say, hey, let's just preclude all that crap and just not have her win an election. Then her and her squadron of flying monkeys can go off into the horizon and live happily ever after.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, hey, look, we got to go to a quick break here. I just my parting shot here is I kind of look at Tim Kaine like John Kasich, who's bilingual. You know, he's got all the personality of John Kasich and just about as much as ability. So anyway, we got to go to a quick break here. Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio with us. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
And we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And just a quick reminder, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and you can pick up this show, any of our shows. You'll find all the shows out there with our contributor that's with us today, Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio. Anything that she does, anything she says, I love having this girl on our panel. I really love the fact that she endures us and puts up with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Anyway, back here, we talked earlier in the segment, we were talking about the black community and how another thing I saw the left out there doing en masse on media this morning and on the news actually is trying to defend the left's policies and agendas when it comes to the black community. Okay. I'll give you a real quick sample here. They talk about how employment now is below 5%. Okay.
Where?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, these people are delusional.
Okay, but
it's of America, right? That's what you're saying. 5%.
Yeah. Well, we all know the numbers. But the reason I brought that up is because in the black community, it's only 9%. Okay, that's how the left. That's how the left was playing it. Well, it's only 9% in the black community. You know,
Actually, we
like
all know
nobody can do math in the black community. I guess you don't figure out that the difference between 4 and 9 is like twice as much. You know?
What is this, Monty Python? You have no arms, you stinking fool! You're dead.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is I want to take a pot shot here at one of what used to be one of my favorite columnists, actually, Jennifer Rubin for Washington Post. Okay,
John, don't do it.
I mean, she used to be. She used to be at least. Well, she used to be at least halfway reasonable.
Okay, John, who is it again?
Jennifer Rubin.
Okay.
She writes for the Washington Post. She has a column called, I forget what it's called, To the Right, or something like that. Or the right side, or something like that.
If you're all the way on the left, if you're getting a little closer to the center, you're on the right.
Yeah, she's like, I mean, I put her in the same category that I used to put people like Jonah Goldberg, who I no longer respect. But I mean, she would write. She had that kind of a style. She would take on the tough things, and she was rather objective. I'm just going to use that word because I can't think of anything else to say right now. But she has, I've noticed over the last couple of months, turned totally establishment, totally anti-Trump, totally even so much as pro-Hillary. She writes this article, here's what African Americans have to lose if Trump is elected. Okay? And she starts out by talking about how Donald Trump went down to Dimondale, Michigan to lecture the black community as to why they should be voting for him. Okay?
I watched that. It didn't seem like a lecture to me.
That wasn't a lecture.
Yeah, and she says, he talks about Clinton being for open borders. She goes, Clinton, of course, is not for open borders or giving jobs away. And I'm going through the whole thing. She refers to his position on immigration, the anti-immigrant spiel, is how she refers to it. And she said, and here's where she goes, in July, the unemployment rate for all African Americans was 8.4%. So contrary to Trump's cockeyed view, more than 91% of African Americans looking for work do have jobs.
She's delusional. She doesn't know.
I'm thinking, how many? Well, I think the qualifier here, African Americans looking for work do have jobs. Okay, how many African American communities in these places are looking for jobs? Okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, the first thing, John, it's not the anti-immigrant spiel; it's the illegal immigrant spiel.
It's the pro-establishment spiel.
You leave out that one important word: illegal.
Yeah. Okay.
They love to do that. They always call us anti-immigrant. No, because my grandparents on both sides were immigrants. I'm pro-immigrant. I am anti-illegal immigrant.
Yeah, exactly. And then she uses that great line that we hear from all establishment types. It does not mean that the liberal policies have worked. It's just that the real world bears only a slight resemblance to Trump's dystopia, and that's coming out more and more.
Oh my gosh, she referred it to as a dystopia? You're kidding me?
Yeah. What we hear. That's what we.
I wouldn't read her stuff anymore.
Isn't that what we're hearing on the Republican Party right now? The establishment. Well, I don't agree with Hillary on many things, but she'll be damn much better than Trump, so I'm going to vote for Hillary.
Well, I love that
because they're trying to secure their jobs, because after all, they can't write against the person if they're in and they're on their side. They're not going to do that. See, they have to secure their jobs. The establishment, like Bill Kristol, he is why doesn't he just go to the left? Go back on the left, because you're useless here. He is trying to secure his job. They are a disgrace. They're a disgrace. They don't give a damn about this country either. They're as bad as Hillary. They don't care about this country.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think we should define dystopia for people, because they might not understand that word, because that's not something used in normal, casual conversation. Dystopia, an imagined place or state in which everything is unpleasant or bad, typically a totalitarian or environmentally degraded one.
Or the last 8 years. So I think that kind of sums it up.
So, yes, Trump has a totalitarian state.
Yeah. Well, here's another little thing.
It's a freaking lie. I can't even. It's amazing how they hate the opposition. That's us. They hate Trump so much that they just outright lies now. They will just lie and they don't even care about it. They have no conscience whatsoever. I mean, you can't, it's like a seared conscience. It's hardened. What will the black community benefit if Trump wins? They will benefit in dignity, in self-respect that God created them to possess.
Yeah.
They will be the same as everyone else. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you can't say that around a liberal, because remember, the liberals look at them. I mean, when's the last time you saw a liberal living in the neighborhood with someone with darker skin hue, unless they were cleaning their home?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I agree 100%. And see, what it is what she is articulating here is the fear of the establishment. I don't know that this establishment hates Trump as much as it is they fear him. Because he will definitely he will throw a wrench in their works big time, and so what she's writing in my position and from my perspective, she's like George Will and Jonah Goldberg and some of these people that have been highly regarded as conservative icons, and now I'm listening to them and I'm like, no, you're establishment icons. You're out there trying to defend the establishment over the party and over the electorate. The idea of hearing Dana Perino the other day talking about, it's all about saving the Republican Party. I'm going, what planet are you from? The party's been dead for about 10 years now, at least, if not longer.
And what will happen is, God forbid, Trump doesn't win. That will be the end, God forbid, meaning for the country, but that will be the end of the Republican Party. Absolutely. They will never be trusted by the people. They gained millions of new voters that registered, that were Democrats, and they became Republican. If they screw all of these people, they're finished.
Yeah, I agree.
Audrey, thank you, because I was saying exactly that today.
Yeah.
And the people looked at me like I was speaking in a whole different language. Yeah. It was like, what? You watch these people, their registration numbers will crater.
Yeah. Well, they're already dying, and so one of two things happens: the Republican Party does implode, and the Democrats just keep enough people in there to keep the show going their direction, or maybe something like the Libertarian Party picks up a bunch of people, or the Independent Party picks up a bunch of people, and we can finally get another candidate out there that's not as tied to either the left or the right in terms of Republican or Democrat, and who knows where it will go from there? Maybe. Maybe we will.
We do have that now. We have someone who's an outsider. We do have that. And that's why he's so hated and feared, as you said. He's hated and feared because he's going to break up the little clubs of, I won't even say. But, everybody knows what they are. He'll break that. He's going to shatter it. Why? Because he's not part of the establishment where she is. And for them to try to portray her as somebody who's really not part of it, they're deluding themselves, and eventually we're going to have a lot of people that need to be in institutions.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about the left here. Go ahead.
I got to interrupt you. We're wrapping up here. We're out of time for Audrey today, but I wanted to give you time. Who you got on your show coming up on Thursday?
Oh, I got 3 great guests. Comedian and impressionist Scott Wood will be back. Media analyst direct from Paris, Philippe Corsanti will be back, and Heritage Foundation Stephen Bucci will be here too.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. You guys visit Audrey at audreyrusso.com, or you can go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We've got a link down there for her, and you just click it that way. Whichever one's easier for you, okay? Thanks so much, Audrey, for coming on this week.
Thanks, Audrey.
Thank you, guys. God bless you.
All right, God bless you, too. Okay, guys, it's time for the Edwards Notebook, and then we got to pay some bills, and we'll get back in next hour. Next hour, Don Dix from Act for America will be with us. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
There is great danger when stupid people are in a position of influence. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, recently in Twin Falls, Idaho, Muslim refugee boys from Syria chose to rape an American 5-year-old girl. Now, raping is an Islamic custom, along with adult men marrying little girls.
But in America, it is a crime to rape. And when you consider the sometimes overly feminist nature of today's society, it was alarming to witness an American sovereign citizen named Nancy Taylor proclaiming that racism in Twin Falls is the cause of strife between Muslim refugees and Americans, not the senseless act of rape. I find such thinking to be very stupid and bordering on evil. Ms. Taylor is an unwise advocate for open borders and bringing in as many Muslim refugees as possible. Those boys were practicing what they had learned from their elders. The brutal, gruesome rape was videotaped, and for Ms. Taylor to be more vexed over the righteous indignation of such a horrendous act than the rape itself places on full display the danger that government school indoctrination poses to our republic. I'm Ron Edwards.
Blowing away the myths and revealing the truth. You can continue to blow away the myths with Ron Edwards on Facebook, Twitter, and theronedwards.com.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and this is our short segment here. And I guess what do we want to talk about in this short segment, Joe? You got something out there you want to talk about?
Sure. I would suggest that everybody go to the Liberty gb.org.uk and read Audrey's latest article. It's titled "Hillary Clinton's Islam's Whore."
She's what?
It's titled Hillary Clinton's Islam's Whore. In which Audrey very nicely does go factually based and just points out the things that Hillary did as Secretary of State, the money she received to her foundation and thus to herself. She aggrandizes herself and at the expense of the American people. And she also does it with regimes that are not so, shall we say, constitutionally friendly.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, in line with that, okay, we mentioned, again last week, we mentioned about the fact that the Clintons have released their tax returns. And we find out that most of the money they donated to the Clinton Foundation. Okay, I mean, talk about a double whammy there. Okay,
I'm gonna start the Joe Foundation, and I'm gonna take all my money and send it back to me.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, I guess that's not above the law. Of course, because we know they wouldn't do it.
Hey, well, John, that's funny you say that. Remember the IRS scandal when they were attacking conservative organizations as they applied for the 501c3 status for tax exemptions, right? So they wanted to be nonprofits, which supposedly is the Clinton Foundation. It's a nonprofit. So you make a nonprofit and somehow you profit from it.
Well, I guess what's really kind of have me a little bit intrigued, and it's really spiked my cynical button, is that really what do the American people really care as to what our politicians pay in taxes? I mean, I think any one of us, if you got the IQ of seaweed, you know that these people aren't going to pay any more than they have to.
Yes, absolutely, and they're going to be hypocrites about it. They're going to say, you Republicans just want to have tax breaks for the rich. That's all you want. Meanwhile, they're the ones that are rich as well. And so any tax breaks they get, they're going to enjoy them too. They're not going to say, oh, I refuse to take that break.
Yeah, so, I really kind of thought about this a lot during the 2012 election when it was a big deal about Mitt Romney having all his money over in the Cayman Islands and all that. And it all turned out to be false. But as Harry Reid said, hey, it did the job. It didn't matter that I lied. It just did the job. And it's like, does the American public really sit around and wonder, gee, I wonder how much these people have paid? For instance, the idea, the actual earned income, according to the Clintons' tax returns, earned income was $100. Or salary, $100.
$100.
Okay, $100. But of course, they brought in about $150 million through the Clinton Foundation. And Barack Obama, by the way, when he took office as president, was worth a little under $4 million. He's now worth over $14 million. Okay? Now, his return on his investments, of course, is for that great book that he wrote that everybody's still buying, they say. And he invested a lot in things like treasury bonds and low-risk securities. Now, I'm sitting here in my mind thinking, well, who else is making that kind of money on low-rated bonds and treasuries? What's a treasury play today? 1%? Who's making? How do you triple your investment if you're only getting paid 1%? But my point being is, I don't think the American taxpayer today really expects anybody in politics to be honest about what they're earning and what they're paying in taxes. So I'm kind of, why is this still a deal? Why is this? And it's not a law. It's just some tradition that somebody started eons ago.
They just started it. They just started with Richard Nixon. Okay, that's when it started.
Oh, yeah. Was that over the dog? Keeping the dogs?
Remember why they did it, but Nixon decided to cave into these meatheads. And
well, yeah, I think it was because they thought he was taking money on the side. He wasn't a criminal. I remember him talking about the dog. Well, it was Checkers. Checkers the dog. I'm going to keep the dog. It was a gift. I'm going to keep it. I'm not a crook. That kind of stuff.
I'm not a crook. I'm not as much of a crook as Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton is. Oh, he's dead now, so it doesn't matter, huh?
I'm like, why is this a big deal? That's why I think Trump should come out and say, I'll tell you what, Hillary, I'll let you know what I'm making as far as income. I'll let you know what I'm paying in taxes and what I'm not paying in taxes. You show me your health records.
Well, let's just get this straight. You understand why Trump's not releasing any of his tax records, right?
Well, he said it's because he's being audited. I get that. Okay.
That's the point that you don't hear from the other side.
Yeah.
He's being audited, and under the advice of his attorneys, he's not supposed to do that. Why would he give up any? It's called the Fifth Amendment, people.
I'm just looking at it like this. These guys are worth more money than I'll probably ever have in my life. I don't care what they're paying in taxes.
His shoes are worth more money than I'll ever make in my life.
And what I do care about is using your position in government to make money, something nobody can accuse Donald Trump of. If anything, you might be able to accuse him of paying off politicians, but you can't accuse him of making money off of politicians. It doesn't work.
It's the politicians' fault. Now we have Hillary Clinton, who's the champion of that.
Okay. We got to go to a quick break here. Got to interrupt you here. We got to go to a quick break. We got Don Dix from Act for America sitting in the wings. I got a topic for him today. We're going to find out a little bit about Huma Abedin today. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives, and I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we have with us right now Don Dix. I don't know what's going on over there. Don, how are you doing? Don, are you there?
John?
Yeah.
Hey, John, how are you?
Yeah, you guys, you're launching a rocket over there or something?
Well, as it turns out, we're on vacation this week, driving through San Francisco, and we were supposed to be safely tucked away in our nice little room in Sonoma for some wine tasting, but ran into a little problem driving north, so we're behind our schedule. So unfortunately, we're still on the road, but enjoying hearing your show, and when you told me that you wanted to talk about Huma Abedin, I was very excited.
Yeah, we have brushed on this topic several times, but never really gone in depth to it. And now that we're learning more and more, little by little, about the Clinton Foundation and her ties to some of the groups outside of the Clinton Foundation that have brought money into the pay-for-play things that are all flowing around there. Another scandal is brewing, and when we may or may not see any fruit from this one. But I'm really become intrigued to learn and find out that Huma Abedin is not really quite the feminist that everybody thinks she is. And that really has really kind of drawn my attention to it. The fact we have a Muslim publication out there, I guess run by her father and mother, which is very anti-feminist, very anti-American, and apparently she's been attached to it so much so she's even written articles for these people about the place of Muslim women and her support of Sharia law. So I was wondering if you could kind of enlighten us a little bit on that stuff.
Well, I really would. This is a fascinating story, and it's one that is actually beginning to get some renewed coverage, but mostly by conservative websites like Breitbart. And you name it. It hit a headline or two on Drudge recently. This is a story that's never, ever, ever, ever going to see the light of the day on the mainstream media. But before we really get into talking about Huma Abedin, we need to take a little bit of a detour further back in Hillary Clinton's history to examine relationships with two other people. And what you really begin to learn is that Hillary Clinton has had a romance, literally a romance, with the Muslim Brotherhood going back to the beginning of the Clinton presidency. And for instance, you probably hear every year now, especially over during Obama's administrations, about the iftar dinner that's celebrated at the White House, right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Say it again. Well, the iftar dinner is the dinner that is that celebrates the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan.
Right.
What a lot of people aren't aware of is that Hillary Clinton actually started that tradition in 1996.
Okay, and in 1996, this is when she was first lady.
This is when she was first lady. She held the very first iftar dinner. But what's interesting is when we dig into this a little further, she actually put a guy by the name of Abdurrahman Al-Amoudi in charge of the guest list for the very first iftar dinner at the White House.
Okay, and what does this love that she has for the Muslim Brotherhood? What is it? Is this tied to money?
Well, you know what? I don't know if it's tied to money or not. I am not really sure what the love affair with the Muslim Brotherhood is. But this guy, Abdurrahman Al-Amoudi, is the guy. He came to the United States in 1979. In 1981, he's the guy who founded the Islamic Society of Boston, which is a data point in the history of terrorism in America, because some of the listeners may recall that this is where the Tsarnaev brothers went to mosque.
Ah, okay, and you're talking about the two that went from the Boston Marathon bombing, right?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Not only that, there was a guy by the name of Anwar Awlaki that was a spiritual advisor for the Islamic Center of Boston.
Okay.
Not only that, Al-Amoudi, back in 1990, founded the American Muslim Council. In the following year, he established something called the American Muslim Armed Forces and Veterans Affairs Council, whose purpose ultimately became to certify Muslim chaplains hired by the military. And in 1993, the Defense Department certified Al-Amoudi's organization, one of two, along with something called the Graduate School of Islamic and Social Sciences, that were authorized to approve and endorse Muslim chaplains to serve in the military. Now, a little bit further down the line in Al-Amoudi's career, he was appointed by the State Department to travel through all the Muslim countries as the goodwill ambassador of the Clinton administration, to go out and basically build relationships with the Muslim countries, extolling the virtues of America. But if Hillary Clinton had paid attention to who Abdurrahman Al-Amoudi was, she would know that out there in the public domain, this guy actually disparaged the federal government for the flimsy evidence it used as a basis for arresting somebody by the name of Mohammed Salamia. He was a suspect in the World Trade Center bombing February 26. Salamia was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison for his role in assisting the blind sheikh in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And right down the line, Al-Amoudi's public statements, even serving as the State Department over in these Muslim countries, would say, over here in these countries, I can say, Allah destroy America, but in America, I can't say that. Now, just to there's a ton of history. We could literally, John, talk about Hillary Clinton. In fact, I do a talk about this called Hillary Clinton Mainstreams the Muslim Brotherhood. I could talk for 3 hours, not just about Al-Amoudi, not just about Abedin, but also about her relationship with something called the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. And we'll touch on that in just a little bit. But her romance with the Muslim Brotherhood and her effort to mainstream the Muslim Brotherhood is a long-standing factual it's factually correct, and it's just not odd that she would have this relationship with Abedin, which we'll get into. But here's where Al-Amoudi's story gets a little complicated, because in the year 2003, he's arrested in Heathrow Airport for trying to bring $343,000 out of Libya to help finance an assassination plot. Saudi crown became the king of Saudi Arabia. So now this guy was indicted and then guilty in an American court of financing Al-Qaeda, of financing the Muslim Brotherhood, and his role in this assassination plot in order to kill the Saudi crown prince. He's currently serving 23 years in prison.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what these ties, what would be the motivation, especially since the connections that you're making right now is back when, not like today, where, where the Muslim Brotherhood has become a firing point for the left, in terms of bigotry and everything else displayed by those on the right. But back in that day, back in that time, the Middle East and especially Iran and places like that were hot spots that both sides of the political asylum were pretty much eyeballing, with some kind of distrust and wondering what they were going to do. So I can only assume, I would only speculate, there has to be some money in here somewhere.
Well, you would certainly speculate that today. What I think was going on back then was essentially the courting of Saudi Arabia at the time. There was some relationship building because, this is during President Clinton's first term. So there was some relationship building going on with Saudi Arabia. And if we look at the history of all of this, we see, bringing it full circle to today, all of the money that lines the Clinton Foundation that has come in from Saudi Arabia. So I think what we're looking at here is the beginning of that courtship. Of all of the money that was sloshing around the Middle East from their oil money, and the building of the relationship, because it was in 1997 that Uma Abedi becomes Hillary Clinton. She becomes an intern for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Well,
public information. All you need. Go ahead.
I got to interrupt you here, Don, because you're starting to break up really bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're driving through that technology center in San Francisco.
I kind of wish you would have told. I wish you would have told me you were going to be out on the road. We would just postpone this. Let's go to a break here. Let's do our break right now, and we'll come back and see if the connection's any better. If not, we'll have to terminate the interview. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, and along with Joe Hakos, we've got Don Dix on the line. I'm hoping our connection's a lot better. You still out there, Don?
I am. Is this any better?
Yeah, right now we are, but if we go back into that terminal rattle out there, I'm going to have to cut you off.
Well, I think we should be good. I actually found a rest stop to pull into.
Ah, that's excellent, excellent. Okay, you want to pick up where you left off at? You were talking about the relationship that Hillary has had with the Muslim Brotherhood for, well, several decades now.
Well, yeah, and it all started really, the first data point that we have is this relationship with this fellow named Abdul Rahman Alamoudi, and his involvement in advancing not just the Muslim Brotherhood, but the whole Islamist regime in this country. And as I mentioned, starting with this organization that he started, the American Muslim Armed Forces and Veterans Affairs Council, where he actually got the opportunity to certify Muslim chaplains, to be hired by the military. When he was appointed by the State Department to be this goodwill ambassador, where he would go over to these Muslim countries and really sort of toe the Islamist sort of party line, and then come back into America and, just practice the taqiyya that's, basically sort of lying. And then he really came out of the closet in 1999 during a protest rally, if you will, for the state of Palestine, where directly across from the White House in Lafayette Park, he takes to the microphone after he thought all the media was gone. And he said, Bill Clinton, do you hear me now? We are all supporters of Hamas. Are we supporters of Hamas here? And the crowd chants, yes, we support Hamas. And then he says, do you hear me, Bill Clinton? We're all supporters of Hezbollah here. Do you hear me now? Who here supports Hezbollah? And this was recorded. This is out there all over YouTube. You can just type in Abdul Rahman Alamoudi, Lafayette Park. And this was actually surreptitiously recorded when Alamoudi and the promoters of this event thought that the media had gone home and gotten their sound bites for the day. And here Alamoudi just in 1999 just comes out in public to say how much he supports the Islamist regime. And even before this, back in the early 90s, when he became a part of the Clinton Foundation, and pictures of Alamoudi and President Clinton and Vice President Al Gore, they're all over the internet. I mean, you can see them in any number of events where Alamoudi is pictured there during the event with the Clintons. I mean, this guy had, a position of influence second to none. And unfortunately, had the Clintons done any job in vetting this guy, they would have figured out who he was. And that applies to Huma Abedin. If they had done any job vetting who she was, they would have figured out and found out the organizations that Huma and her family had been involved in, what they'd been talking about. This is no small deal. The Journal of Minority Muslim Affairs, JMMA, was a journal that was founded by her father, along with another individual who was he was part of a government entity funded by the Saudi. This is all in Saudi Arabia. These are organizations, Islamist promoting organizations. The fellow that Huma Abedin's father founded this organization with was also the director of something called the Rabita Trust, which was shut down after its operations in the United States were shut down after 9/11 because they found out the Rabita Trust was funding Al-Qaeda. So any organization that was in any way funneling money to Al-Qaeda was no longer allowed to do any banking within America, of course, and was discouraged from having banking relationships in countries outside the United States. This lady, Huma Abedin, her family's relationship, because her father's passed away, her mother is still involved with this organization, actually helped found the female version of the Muslim Brotherhood in Saudi Arabia. And this family of Huma Abedin's, they are all a part of the exportation of Wahhabist ideology that is at the core of the Saudi Arabian version of Islam.
Well, let me interject. Let me interrupt you here, Don, because you've said something here, just a few words back here, that it's kind of piqued my curiosity here. You say, had the Clintons vetted this gentleman that you were talking about here, that was in working with the military and the Muslim clerics and all this, or had the Clintons vetted Huma Abedin, why do we just naturally assume that they weren't vetted? I mean, what's to say that they weren't vetted and it didn't make any difference?
Well, when I say weren't vetted, that in terms of what Annie McCarthy wrote about this in Conservative Review a little while back when he explored the idea. I don't know if you remember, but in I think it was 2012, you had Michelle Bachmann and several other Congress people that said, hey, this lady named Huma Abedin needs to be investigated. And she wrote letters to the inspectors general of 5 different departments, including the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, the State Department, asking for Huma Abedin to be for her background to be, not investigated, but documented,
right,
and put out in public. Because what Andy McCarthy said after these, and if you remember, you had Senator John McCain, you had Marco Rubio, that all came out and demonized Michelle Bachmann for calling for this review and wanting to have this investigated. why would John McCain and Marco Rubio defend Uma Abedin?
Yeah, say this is where the curiosity in me just really kind of peaks up here. I'm thinking, okay, I can see the Clintons, tying their wagon to Saudi Arabia. Okay, there's money there. The Bushes made a bunch of money off of Saudi Arabia. Maybe we can do the same thing. But what I find interesting is that we Americans just kind of have this. We make this assumption that people in American government, people especially in high positions, that they actually vet people that they bring on, or they don't vet. And we find something out, and they're going, well, oh, geez, you should have been vetted. It should have. And I'm wondering, is that really the case? I mean, the Clintons are people that function on paranoia. You would think that they would have background checks on anybody that would have any access to anything they're doing, much less, second, third in command in her campaign and stuff. So what I'm saying is, or what I'm suggesting is, I'm not so sure that it really matters to the Clintons about ties to the Muslim Brotherhood or who Huma Abedin's father and mother were. They probably already know, but they don't care. And so the question becomes, why? What do they have to gain by that?
Well, here's the thing, and this is what Andy McCarthy wrote about. When you elect somebody to office, they automatically get these top secret security clearances because the theory goes that they've been vetted by the media, vetted by the voters, and therefore they're now entitled to these top secret security clearances. Uma Abedin was a government appointee. She was essentially a hired employee for the State Department. So anybody that's hired by the State Department needs to go through a background check, and they need to fill out what's called Form 86. Andy McCarthy points out in this article that if a properly examined Uma Abedin had filled out Form 86, there is absolutely no way in the world that she should ever have been able to get the position that she got within the State Department, because it required this top secret or classified security clearance because she's dealing with this material. And so you got to wonder, why was she given a pass? Why was this process? Because you can go back in history a little bit to find people that were denied government positions because they had an uncle whose brother who married into a family who had somewhere in the back a communist role in the Russian government. No direct relationship, no direct involvement, but because, several degrees removed, they had this communist in their family background. They were denied government positions. How we allowed somebody like this, who has a position with, who has parents who essentially are, Muslim Brotherhood affiliates, was able to get a top secret, a classified security clearance. This is the question that Michelle Bachmann raised back in 2012. How did this happen? How was this lady able to get this? So is it about money? Is it about, the Hillary Clinton's ideological fantasy of, making this a one world government? I mean, let's take this. You probably got a break in a couple of minutes, but there's one thing that needs to also be included in this conversation, and that is Hillary Clinton's advancement of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, which is the OIC. It's a UN body, 56 Muslim countries plus the state of Palestine. They got this resolution called Resolution 1618 passed at the UN, which back in its original format sought to criminalize speech critical of Islam in every non-Muslim country. So this was a resolution the OIC was asking every non-Muslim country to adopt as part of their legal code. And the story picks up in July of 2011 when Hillary Clinton makes a speech in Istanbul, Turkey, praising the OIC for having come up with this under the guise of religious tolerance. And then in December of 2011, has a 3-day closed-door meeting with representatives from the OIC, attorneys from the State Department, attorneys from the Department of Justice, trying to figure out how do we incorporate this set of laws inside the United States. And ultimately, what was beginning to happen was the shift in considering speech that was critical of Islam or quote unquote hateful as violating the civil rights of Muslims.
Okay, so are we looking at some kind of end around to try to justify the removal of the First Amendment?
I think we're looking at an end around. You remember not too long ago when Hillary Clinton was on Fox News and Mike Wallace asked her about the Second Amendment.
Right.
And she said, no, I'm for the Second Amendment. But as with everything in the Bill of Rights, all of these need to be regulated by the government.
Okay, so it would be an end around, not to repeal the First or Second Amendment, but just render them useless through regulation and law.
Exactly. I mean, if we have what Canada has and what England has, which is every time you get up in public and you start talking about whether it's one extreme, saying Muhammad's a pedophile, to another extreme saying, Sharia law has no place because they advocate for the killing, for apostasy, and you go down the whole litany of stuff within Sharia law. In Canada, if you do that, you can be sued by another citizen at the Court of the Human Rights Commission for money, and you have to hire an attorney to defend yourself. The freedom of speech no longer exists in Canada. It no longer exists in England, and it no longer exists in countries that have adopted the OIC's framework, like in Austria, where Elizabeth Sabadosh-Wolf was convicted on these hate crimes. She actually said Muhammad was a pedophile based on our laws today,
right.
And she had to go to court, and she had to serve 3 months in prison or pay a fine.
Okay.
This is what we're looking at under Hillary Clinton and why she's so dangerous as a presidential candidate. And we haven't even gotten out of the whole sphere of influence of the Muslim Brotherhood and these speech codes being advanced by the OIC. On that alone, she shouldn't be president.
Okay, all right. We got to take our break here at this point. I guess the underlying question to me is I can understand the Clintons doing this for material gain, for money. What I can't understand is why they would choose this particular path, which would basically undermine the whole ideological liberal movement of being able to do whatever you want and legislate that to be able to do you want, because the Muslim law, Sharia, would do just the opposite. It would clamp down on all this stuff. And I'm kind of wondering, why did they pick this method, or why did they go down this path to try to sequester and silence opposition through, the regulation and laws and everything else that would render the First and Second Amendments useless. Basically undercut them to such a point. Yeah, they'd be on the books, but don't mean anything. So let's talk about this. We'll be back in just a minute. We got a short break coming up here. We got Don Dix from Act for America. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
Hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I want to get right back here to Don Dix from Act for America doing his weekly segment with us, and we're talking about these ties that are becoming a little bit more apparent, especially regarding the Clinton campaign. You know, one of the things that's really been kind of sticking out to me, ever since Obama came in office, actually, became apparent to me, is that there is some motivation, some either ideological, political, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's some association, some reason why all of a sudden Islam has become such a hot button in terms of the left wanting to defend it. You would think that, you know, we on the right are the ones that they call the Nazis, and we're the ones that, you know, we want to just clamp down, and we just want the white Protestant people with their guns and religion to be able to rule everything and run everything. And you would think that Islam would be so counter to the leftist culture and the paradigm of what they believe to be what freedom is and everything else. And I guess that's really what perplexes me as to why there would be such strong ties between the Clintons, Obamas, and people like Huma Abedin. Do you have any idea about that, Don?
I've got some, I got some pretty strong, I'll call them guesses, but I think it goes beyond a guess. I believe the nexus of this story, where the movements like the political movement of the Muslim Brotherhood, or ideologies like those within Islam, whether it's Wahhabist or Islamic states like Iran, I believe the nexus of this lies with the work of Trevor Loudon. Have you ever had Trevor Loudon on your show?
No, I have not.
He is somebody that I would highly recommend, because when you take the body of Trevor Loudon's work, which is the documentation of the infiltration of all of our systems, academia, entertainment, government, media, by the communist and socialist movement in America, because a lot of people thought when the communist movement in Russia was defeated in the Cold War, America went to sleep when it came to communism, but communism never slept. It morphed into a whole different approach to the destruction of Western civilization. I mean, it's no secret that we have Marxists and Leninists and Stalinists and communists and socialists that have come out of the closet in our university systems and have been indoctrinating our students into these ideologies. It's the whole root of the Black Lives Matter movement, of all of these sort of anti-American movements that keep coming out of the college campuses. Remember, when Donald Trump did his speech at the University of Chicago in Barack Obama's hometown, the virulent reaction that they had on that campus. You had Bill Ayers come out. You had, right. And a lot of what happened on that campus was never accurately reflected in the media. You literally had people being attacked in that parking garage. And that's what happens at a lot of these Donald Trump campaigns. You literally have these brown shirts, these Marxists that are emerging out of, whether it's Latin American countries that are here, as happened at the Donald Trump rally in Costa Mesa. We know in Santa Ana, California, we've got these huge enclaves of these Marxist sort of revolutionary kids that are so anti-American that when you have somebody like Donald Trump that's talking about shutting down immigration and making sure that people get vetted, they rally in opposition to this. Trevor Loudon has documented the individuals within government that have their roots, like Judy Chu and Maxine Waters and Luis Gutierrez, and the two individuals we now have, the two Muslims who, one from Minnesota, and I forget the other one, Andre Carson. At any rate, all of these people have connections and roots in the democratic socialist movement in this country, which is all about communism. So, getting back to your question, what's the love affair? Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and a lot of these progressives, I believe, for one reason or another, believe that America is the key to the destruction of Western civilization. The communists want to bring down Western civilization. The Islamists want to bring down Western civilization. And the key to Western civilization is the destruction of America. Because if you can bring down America, everything else goes. And that's what Trevor Loudon's work does. I would encourage you to have Trevor Loudon, so that your listeners can listen to his careful 20-year documentation of this, where he literally goes into source documents of these organizations within the United States that are all about the destruction of the Constitution and America to bring about this utopian socialist communist tomorrow. And we all know where it all leads. We've seen what happens in every Marxist socialist regime. The most notably now we're watching Venezuela melt down. For some reason or other, Barack Obama thinks Cuba is this great shining example of communism, socialism. And they want to mainstream all this stuff because it's all about bringing down America. And I think that's where both the Islamist agenda and the communist agenda cross over. Yes, at some point they're going to become enemies, but I believe it's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend right now.
Right. So we could make a comparable comparison to say the United States and Britain's alliance with Russia during World War II, because they had they had a common enemy in Nazism. And I guess the idea from our perspective, somebody like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, is it's a means to an end. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that
absolutely.
That makes sense. And then it's kind of like when the time comes, we'll just put these Muslims back where they belong.
Yeah, I mean, they'll sort it all out when the bigger enemy, the great Satan, America, is killed, and of course that includes the Jewish state of Israel. Right,
and that's the thing to me. When I hear people like Clinton and Biden and people like that talk about our great friendship with Israel, and I'm like, no, that always comes up in my mind about Muslims that I've talked about, people that have converted from Islam to Christianity, and telling me that Islam does not consider it unethical or dishonest to lie to infidels. And so, and I'm like, okay, we know this, but the people that they're dealing, I guess even if Obama knows this, it's kind of like it doesn't really make any doesn't really make any difference, because in the end, we're still Americans. We'll still come out on top. We'll divvy it all up, and they might get a little bit, but we'll still be the show. I guess that's how they're looking at it. It's just very intriguing to me how you could go with something that's so diametrically opposed to what they really want, and think that there's not going to be a price to pay for that. Anyway, Don, we're out of time here. I wanted to give you a moment to plug your show, what you're doing.
Well, I guess there's two. We have the Jen and Don show that airs daily between 6 and 7 in California on AM 590 The Answer. Folks want to tune into that, they can either go on their computers, am590.info, and listen to the show stream, or they can download the app and listen to all the great hosts, including that are featured there, as well as on the weekends. We've got the Unite IE radio show, and the core of our work of exposing Islam's agenda in America is documented on actforamerica.org, where folks can go to support that work and that message in making people aware here in the United States of both the cultural as well as, of course, the violent jihad that's unfolding here and across the world. So both of those places are, where people can get more plugged into this information. Thank you so much for that opportunity, John, and thanks for the opportunity to be with you today.
Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy your vacation, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
Have a great day, and my best to you and Joe.
All right. Take care. Okay, guys, we're at the end of the show here, and we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 3 o'clock out here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock out on the East Coast, where it's prime time sometime, all the time, somewhere. We love you guys. We thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us, and we look forward to bringing you the best, what we believe the best in conservative talk radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.